We had cuts to the federal workforce,
This is the
of
Neoliberal
shrinking
Round
government and
podcast.
saving billions in federal funds.
Welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast. In fact, welcome to another episode of the new installment series called The Pulse with Renaldo and Ricardo McKenzie. Ricardo, welcome back to your show, The Pulse. We haven't had, many of you have been asking about The Pulse. When are we going to have it? And we are finally here, but we haven't had it because Ricardo hasn't been here. What's been going on?
Wait, I'm surprised you. Why you have to say that? I mean, we're right on point, right on time. You know.
Actually, we have a
So
guest that wants to join, wants to go toe to toe with you. Maurice Smith. He said he was enjoying the conversation with you.
oh yeah. So where is he?
I should bring him on the show. Let's give him. But what do we want to talk about today? But I know you and Maurice we didn't get to. Actually, I did record some of it. I did get some of it actually.
What is it? I mean, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
We're talking about tariffs.
Tariffs.
Yes, we were talking about one of the things I talked to you about was Eric Adams. What's happening with Eric Adams? Next thing we're talking
Ricardo,
about.
Where are you, in New York right now or New Jersey?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay,
yeah.
But so you're between New York and New Jersey.
Yes.
And there's a lot. And one we're going to talk about Eric Adams and what's going on with Eric Adams, because we know is he still a Democrat?
I mean, that's a great question.
Is he still a Democrat? We're going to talk about Eric Adams because what's going on?
What is it to be a Democrat these days?
I mean, I don't know. We're going to talk about the tariffs. We're going to talk.
Talk about the Kamala Harris and
Obama.
Yes. And also a new book came out called Fight. A lot of books came out about the infighting and the decisions that were made and how Barack Obama did not support that decision. He felt as though not that he didn't support it, he felt as though there should be more vetting. The will of the people need to supersede all, and they didn't think there weren't enough time. He felt that there were time. He felt that we shouldn't give her a coronation because it just wasn't. He didn't feel as though she had the vote or she could have beaten Donald Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we need to uncover. I mean, that was and I agree. If my mother can say to me that she didn't believe so, a strong Jamaican Christian woman who she didn't think that Kamala was ready. She said that to me. She said to me, I remember, God rest her soul, she passed away in December. She said, I don't understand why would the Democratic Party select Kamala Harris. I don't think she's ready. It's not her time. And I feel as though the Democrats had a great platform. Hold
on. Many Democrats were saying that it's her time. Many Democrats believe that she could have beaten Donald Trump. Many Democrats, even we talked about this on the show. Some of us were saying that I think she's ready. I believe many Democrats were saying that she have the numbers. In fact, the data was showing that she was leading in the polls. She was ahead of Trump. Ahead of Biden. She was a better candidate than Biden, and of course, I believe she was a better candidate than Biden. But she was still anybody would have been a better candidate than Biden at this point.
Great point. Anyone could have been a better candidate than Biden. The only reason why she became a better candidate at that time, because I noticed something. The Democratic Party sometimes, our people in general, they are quick to react. You cannot be reactive. Sometimes you have to be slow and methodical and strategic. And they're not strategic. They think they're intelligent, they're smart, but the Democratic Party, they're not strategic. But what happened is after a debate where Biden really messed up and confirmed to people that he was not ready or not capable in order to run the country, of course, people are going to have reservations. And of course, like you said, anyone could do better. Because at the time after that debate, people just wrote him off. And of course, they thought that she would be better. However, could anyone be better than her? And I felt that was the question. They immediately pushed her into this position, and they never said to us, if we do a poll today, these CNN and the MSNBC and all these pundits, the Democratic National Convention and the Democratic Party itself, they could have done an exit poll to say, if we put Kamala versus Gavin Newsom, or Kamala versus Bernie Sanders, or Kamala versus another person, just do a quick exit poll in certain states. What would that look like? And you could just do a quick, just people coming out of a shopping center, someone coming, do a quick, see what would have happened. And I bet you they would have gotten the results to say that no, it's going to be hard for her. But they didn't do that. They did not do that. They quickly just say, okay, she's better than him. No, it was more than just better than him. If you put her up versus a bunch of Democrats at the time and do a quick, which is what Barack Obama wanted. Even if you don't do a primary, do something of the sort where we would just do a small subset and get as of people or Democrats or people in general and said, if you were to decide between Kamala and 3 other people, what do you think? What would happen? And that would have given them an idea as to who to choose, but they didn't do that. Just like how they tried to push Hillary Clinton to run and push out Bernie Sanders. They do it a lot. The Democratic Party had so many opportunities to make the right decision, but a lot of times they felt they're emboldened. They feel as though they.
I mean, I have said that the Democratic Party, they've lost a lot of followers, and the Democratic Party have not been very true to, have not really supported African American principles. They've only created policies that continue to support that continue to put African Americans and Black and brown people on social welfare dependency. Okay, so I've been rethinking social welfare, and I even in the second book that's about to come up, I did a comparison between social welfare in the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica, and social welfare in the US. We should be the social welfare programs that the problem of to fix social welfare is supposed to fix a problem, the social illness in society. It's not supposed to create dependencies, and social welfare programs is not supposed to fix the problem in society. We're supposed to create a society that's supposed to invest in our people.
Well, listen, Renaldo, I'm not going to bash social ideas and social welfare and all that stuff. In every industrialized nation country, you need social welfare because you're going to have some people who are at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom. It's just that's how it is. You can't escape that. And so social services, social welfare, certain things are important. I'm not saying that these things that the Democrats came up with were so bad. It's sometimes you need to have something that's there. And it was good while it lasted. What I'm saying is, it's like, yes, is there something better? Could we have worked to improve it? Yes. So I'm saying, yeah, while it may have not been a perfect system that they've created, at least they were able to do things that support people who are less fortunate, who are marginalized, who are taken advantage of. There were so many things.
That is true, yeah, but do you admit that that we have also created a culture of dependency, a social welfare culture in certain communities, and which has not, say, for example, we should have been investing in certain minority or African American or Black and brown communities, real investment. Instead, when you hear Kamala and the Democratic leadership talking about investing in Black and brown communities, more often than not, it's about providing more food stamp, providing more earned income credit. But
this is America. No, sorry.
But how many Black and brown businesses you have in Philadelphia today or in Asbury Park that is thriving?
No, I disagree with what you're saying or your point of view here, Renaldo. No, like I said, There has been a lot of policies that support Black and brown community and give them the ability to come out of poverty. This is America, first of all. The idea about America is everyone have an opportunity to succeed. We have a lot of African Americans, people of color, whether you're Asian, Indian, Black, even but a lot of poor people from certain community have survived, come out of it because of policies based on democratic principles that they have done. Yes, I mean, could they have done more? Yes, they could. However, it it now takes the community themselves to do that. All right, it takes their local leadership in these communities to do it. Okay, the government can do so much. All right, now it's the local leadership who need to go in and do more and then get these people out of dependency. And there's been a lot of situation and scenarios where people, I mean, I see it all the time on the news, on TV, on different talk shows where people have, because of the support from the government, they are in a better place today. They're millionaires, they're billionaires. They have, it's not a lot, but I feel as though over time, Rome is not built in a day, but by pulling away these things, what you do now is you make it even harder for Black and brown communities to survive. I do believe that these policies and these things that they've injected in these marginalized communities, they were helpful. Okay. Yes, they need to revamp them because you can't just do food stamps all the time. But guess what? They were helpful for a lot of people. You know, if you have, and it doesn't only just help Black and brown community, it helps Americans who are poor. It is not just for Black and brown, but predominantly we are, because we're coming out of a system of slavery, marginalization. We were dependent because of our historical, what we've been through, what Black people have been through. So of course it takes time for them to get out.
That they're cutting out of the programs. I'm actually going to have David Fair coming on the show talking about the cuts to HIV programs. They're doing a lot of that throughout. There've been a lot of cuts to some Medicaid healthcare programs. There have been some. There is a gentleman. His name is Claudio Bono. Claudio Bono. We're going to bring him on the show. I actually reached out to him. I'm going to be speaking with him tomorrow afternoon. Claude, let me tell you a bit about Ricardo just before we change subject and the whole thing about Democrat, because this is important, because we want to switch gears to Eric Adams. Here we are talking about the Democrats and the policies that they have. And then
basically, let me just say this. Fine, people bash the Democrats all they want and say that they're this, that, and everything else. But you know what? I have to say the Democrats over the years have been very helpful to helping the middle class and helping this country grow. When the Republican Trumpism took over the administration recently, or the new Trump administration, he got an economy that was growing. I spoke with my sister today, our sister, and she said she had stocks. She does finances. She's a financial advisor, investment bank. She manage budgets. She's in England, and her stocks, she got stocks, American stocks. People from all over the world were investing in America. Why? Because after the pandemic, our stock market and our economy was the strongest in the world. So the reason why our stock market was doing so well and we're doing so well is because a lot of people all over the world was investing in American stock and our investments. So to say that, and now she has to pull money out and try to figure it out, because across the board, all
hold on, stop. Wait, this is breaking news on the Neoliberal. You're telling me that a lot of English people, a lot of Europeans were investing heavily in the US stock market.
Of course,
it's historical. Just around after COVID, because the US had, especially the US had, and the stock market was doing very well over the last 2, 3, 4 years. Okay. So you're telling me now, so what is happening now? You're telling me that that her clients are wanting to pull their money from the US stock, from US businesses and stocks.
Here's the deal, Renaldo.
What's going on there? Yes, this is breaking news.
You know what she said to me also? She said, right now, the stock market has dropped. I mean, people have lost so much money. I mean, so sad. People with 401k, all these people. Renaldo, can I tell you something? Yes. When the stock market, everything is cheaper now. Now, if a stock value a certain amount, now it's valued this amount. Do you know who have all the money to buy up all the stocks now?
Who?
All these billionaires and millionaire people.
Oh yes.
So guess what? Of course, middle classes like you and I who invest in the stock or a little 1,000 or 2,000 or
No, Ricardo,
5,000.
I don't. I have made it a principle. I do not
Yeah,
invest
but what I'm
on the
trying to
stock
say to
market.
you
Yeah,
is middle class
yeah.
people are gonna lose a lot more than wealthy people. The stock market has dropped significantly over the last couple of weeks because of these tariffs. And Trump is saying, I'm gonna leave these tariffs in place. But guess what? Now the stock market has dropped and the value of assets have dropped. So now all these billionaires are not going to be affected as much. So they're going to take all of their money and buy their stocks cheaply. For example, Nvidia. Nvidia stock was high, so she bought Nvidia, which was like chips and AI stock. They invest in AI, and they are the leading brand in AI. And their stock used to be a certain amount. I forgot what it was. Let's say it's like it was high in price, so she bought it high. So now it's half of what it used to be valued. And guess what? So the other half was she's gonna lose money, but these billionaires who has money, they're gonna buy the stock because she do think it's her belief that the stock market is gonna bounce back. Maybe not as good as it used to be, but who's gonna profit most out of this? The
I
billionaires.
mean, the stock market always bounce back. The
Yeah, but
stock
who's gonna?
market
The
has
idea
been
is not about
around.
bouncing back, but who's gonna benefit
Wasn't the
more?
but wait, Ricardo? The stock market was here before the recession, the recent recession already, right? In 2008, yeah. It
Yes,
and it was here and it's here now. I mean, and even the stock market
but
has always been here.
my point is, Ronaldo, is the reason why they could continue this tariff talk and they don't care about tariffs. What I'm basically saying, and we're all over the place. I don't want to be all over the place. What I'm basically saying is that you cut taxes for the wealthy, you increase taxes, which is going to hurt middle class. You tell people that they should just tough it out. I'm like, of course, tough it out. We middle class are going to tough it out, even though it's really hard for us. But these millionaires and billionaires, they don't need to tough it out because they already have money. All right, they're not going to feel the pain that we're feeling. So telling me to tough it out, why can't you tough it out? Why
Did you
can't
have money on the? Did you have money on the stock market?
I did? Yes.
How much did you? You lost a lot of money.
I
I
mean,
guess.
yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, like, telling people to tough it out, tough out the all of this that's going on, all these decisions, tough it out. Guess what? I can tough it out. But guess you know what? Who's the only people who's going to be toughing it out, who's going to be suffering, is middle class and poor people. Well, the top 1% and 3% in this country. What I'm trying to say to you is that they're not going to feel the pain. They're not going to feel the hurt of all this thing that's going on. The only people who's going to suffer. So what I'm trying to say is, why don't implement policies then where middle class and low income people don't have to tough it out, don't have to feel. Why do you implement policies where the top 1% and 3% can feel as well? Are you going to do that? Is he going to do that? Or are you just going to implement policies that affect lower middle class and people who are already struggling or already trying to move money around to make ends meet, who's already invest? And like, why are you telling me to tough it out? Why can't these people who wear their red bottom shoes and their Ferrari for $120,000 and their $5 million house and they're flying in a jet across the world, you're gonna give them a tax break and then at the same time lower tariffs,
It's
which doesn't
quite convoluted, Ricardo. It's quite convoluted. I
tough it
completely.
out. That's what I really want to talk about tonight. Why are you telling me to tough it out? Stop it.
Yeah,
Why do
I
I have to tough
I
it
agree.
out?
You know, I agree with you because what I do not understand. I mean, I really don't understand the cuts. I don't believe that they are necessary. I think they are much ado about nothing. I think, and there are better ways to promote efficiency. Never, however, there some cuts I believe are necessary. Some cuts, however, but you have to be very strategic about it. You don't want to lose some of your greatest in your people, um the people labor, they are our great, that's our great, one of America's greatest or most valuable asset as America. And so there are many people, so you have to be careful how you treat with them and how you treat with that. And I don't believe that's happening right now. However,
Ronaldo, you have two people.
yeah,
One of them has $10, the next person have $1.
yeah.
The one with $10, the one who has $1, no, you're gonna tax him. No, he has zero. So no, he can't do it. The one that has $5, you don't tax if you tax him, he only has no as $4. He still could spend $4 while this person have nothing left on this side. That's basically what they did. Every
But
decision.
Ricardo, no, but Ricardo, I did the math. Let me just say this. I did and I know you were making a very profound point, but I just wanted to say this really good point. I did the math. Ricardo, they are making all these cuts and they're using smoke screen points to justify the points. It makes no sense. And I'm going to make this. I did the math. From 2017, Donald Trump tax cuts, Ricardo, from 2017 to now, let's get rid of those tax cuts. Those tax cuts are enough to put us into surplus and more.
What?
Donald Trump is giving millionaires and billionaires $800 billion, and he wants to extend those tax cuts. These billionaires their wealth have quadrupled over the last 10 years, Ricardo. Income inequality in this country has quadrupled in this country, over the world, in fact. So they have been benefiting. Yet since 2017, they also got Donald Trump tax cuts. The tax cuts are about to run out.
You're right. Telling everybody to tough it out like you based on this tax cut. This is what I said. While the wealthiest enjoy layers of comfort, protection, privilege, they likely never need to tough out anything. Exposes a double standard in our society and often treats different classes. All right? Here is the disconnect. Wealth acts as a cushion. Billionaires and corporations have access to tax breaks, like you said, legal loopholes, and safety nets that everyday families don't. Right?
Yes.
Tough it out becomes a moral expectation for working people. To endure job losses, high rents, medical bills, inflation, while the wealthy are rarely expected.
That is what Americans voted for, Ricardo. Americans voted for that because Donald Trump is a capitalist. He's a businessman, and I've oftentimes said whenever business people start talking about cuts or when they're talking about making money or streamlining or whatever, they always attack labor first. They always lay off or freeze wages or make cuts. Labor is always attacked. And now you have the president of this country, and he's doing the same, attacking labor.
The real frustration lies in the contradiction. If we all share in the country's prosperity, rich, poor, and alike, then shouldn't we all share in the responsibility when things get tough? There is no sharing of responsibility. I mean, first of all, we have someone who's a billionaire who has gone bankrupt so many times, and then he has been bailed out. And if it wasn't for his apprentice show, then he probably would not be where he is today. So let's just remember that when people talk about how he's. And then when people talk about this is what people vote for, I hate when people say this to me. This is what they vote for. This is what Americans vote for. Give me a break. Americans
voted for a businessman.
Renaldo, what Americans voted for was Americans were tricked. A lot of them who voted, the ordinary voters are not intelligent.
Twice?
Renaldo, Americans voted for two things. All right, they voted against Paul the status quo. Okay, and they also vote status quo. What do you mean by that, Paul? So Paul thinks that they voted against the status quo. All right, that's what they thought they were being. They also were voting. Yeah, they were lied to. A lot of them, they were lied to. They were lied to. Okay, the economy is the worst. Have you seen the rest of the world? Even though they were making money, unemployment was low. Even though you tell them, they say they didn't want to believe it. Okay, and then don't forget, you're voting against what? What were you voting against? You're voting against LGBTQ. A++, whatever, you're voting against that. You're voting against too many.
Ricardo, okay, let me ask you a question though. I understand that he's doing a lot. He's accomplished a lot. Tasking is not accomplishment.
Accomplish? No, he has accomplished a lot. It's very easy.
Okay, wait. What has he accomplished? Tell me.
Renaldo.
What has Donald Trump accomplished, Ricardo?
I'm going to tell you. destruction and destroying something is the easiest accomplishment in life. Okay? Building something is the hardest thing to do in life. So the reason why Donald Trump and everybody's loving him so much is because it's easy for him to destroy something that took years to build. So yes, he's accomplished a lot, but his accomplishment has to do with his destruction of the fabric of our society. So yes, he has
Ricardo,
accomplished a lot.
let me ask you a question. One, in terms of our reputation in the world today, what is it like? That's two, okay. That's the what. Two, the Ukraine war, the Ukraine Russia, is that still happening? Okay. Three, is the war in what's going on with Palestine and Israel? Is that still happening? In fact, it seemed to have been exacerbated with now with a war brewing with the Houthis and Iran, who is mad with us having this war. I mean this going attacking and throwing some bombs in this developing country, which is a fourth world country. Anyways, so that's happening. What in terms of prices? Prices are going up as much as the president wants to say eggs are down 50%. Consumer confidence is at zero or minus zero, minus 10. And what is going on in the world?
People are not intelligent anymore. Renaldo, when you hear about leaders and leadership in our society, that's why people used to get why I think we have the caucus and we people are vetted. I was the governor of Key Club of Jamaica, and I had to talk about what I plan to do, and I had to there's certain values and quality of a leader, okay, and so Donald Trump has undeniably built influence, reshape political narrative, and mobilize a massive following. But much of that success seems to come through what? Like I said, conflict, dismantling, and division, rather than building bridges or creating system that uplifts everyone. That's what I'm basically saying. So if you're a leader, what are you supposed to do? Bring people together, mitigate conflict, right? So those are the very important things that your job as a leader. But he has not done any of those things. And so that's what you look for when you're looking for a leader for an organization. When you're in HR and you're recruiting people for a job, you're looking for someone who's not just charismatic, but someone who can bring people together, not who's divisive, but who's a builder, okay, who can unite people, who have strategy and ideas, okay? And these ideas have to be benefit everyone across the board. And like I said, he is very destructive, and that's why I say he's very successful in destroying the American society and destroying things. But when it comes down to building it back, I have not heard any ideas in what he plans to do in building back our society, in making sure that working class people, can put food on the table, in making sure that children are the smartest. You said the American education system is the worst in the world, but you have not talked about ways in which destroying the education department does not do anything to build it. It hasn't done any of that. We have not talked about how we're building to make sure that our students are educated. We haven't talked about anything towards how you're going to take away all of these jobs and programs, but you haven't talked about how you're going to put it together. It's like you have a Rubik's Cube and you're supposed to dismantle it, and then you have no strategy or plan to put it back together. And to be honest with you, Renaldo, I think Donald Trump has a very good plan of destroying the system in our society. But I'm telling you, he has no idea.
Why do you think so? Why do you think so, though?
Because we haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any plans, nothing. All we hear, if you want to mitigate all of this conflict and people's fear, people are scared. People are scared. You know how he can eliminate this scare and fear in people? Don't just tell them to tough it out. Tough out what? Because I don't see anything better happening. You haven't told me the reason why you're doing this is because, people are taking advantage of us, are taking advantage of America. That's why you're doing all of this stuff. Although, even though people are taking advantage, or like you said, have taken advantage of us, you decide that you're going to put tariffs on the poorest country in the world. So, and who have not taken advantage of us, who we have destroyed some of these countries, but you have decided to put tariffs on these countries. It makes no sense. That means you have no strategy. You can't decide that you're going to do that. What you need to do, fine, we know China and Russia and certain and Iran, and those are the countries that have fine, maybe Europe, okay, have disproportionately have certain things. You didn't sit at the table and say, this is ABCD. No, we're just going to put tariffs in Canada and these people, as opposed to how can we work together to ensure that we have fairness? We could offer fairness with our trading partners and continue this. No, Renaldo, nothing he has done is discussed about how he's going to work with our trading partners. And so you could still come there as a strength to show strength. But if you're going to do that, come to them at the table first and said, listen, this is what I see is happening, and I think we need to balance the budget a little bit. Don't go to Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago and some other small island where everything that these people do is purchased from America. They don't even have factories, some of these countries. They're solely dependent on our society, and you're going to put tariffs on them. It makes no sense to me that you're going to be fighting against the entire world. It makes no sense whatsoever to do this. So the point remains now, then what is the end game? What is the plan? Why do you decide that you are going to destroy the society and sow discord when there's no strategy? You came up with no plan. I don't understand, and that was what I don't understand with our leaders in the Senate, our Republican leaders. I don't understand why that they are complicit and they're sitting there and saying nobody's coming up.
Wait, hold on, the Republican, or is it the Republican or the Democrats?
The Democrats.
Why you say the Republicans were complicit?
Sorry, the Republicans. The Republicans need to come together. The Republicans need to say this. They need to come out and say, what is the end game? Well, no, I don't hear, not even the Democrats, I don't hear anyone coming and saying, Mr. President, I want to have a sit down with you. I've not heard anyone reached out on television saying that to him. And then I haven't heard anyone said, guys, Americans, I get it. You don't like democratic system. You don't like the Democratic Party, what we stand for. However, if there's one thing that we believe in is why are you going to put tariffs on these countries when they have what's the strategy here? Why wasn't there a plan of action as to how we're going to deal with these things? This is why they make mistakes all the time, and they are firing people they shouldn't fire. They're on Signal, tweeting out, texting things that they shouldn't do it, because like I said, these people are pompous and hubris and prideful. And you know what's the destruction of a society? Is pride. Rome was destroyed because of pride, and America will be destroyed because of our hubris and our pride if we don't work together and stop showing division. And the Senate needs to come together and say, listen to me, man, stop it. We need to have a strategy. We need to know what we're doing. This is not how a leader operates. Okay, we have to start doing that. Do you know how the best way to get rid of this man is to impeach him? They don't plan to impeach him. Why? Well, they have tried to impeach Donald Trump. I think, is it a workable strategy at this point? I don't think it's a workable strategy. They have tried to impeach him before. I don't understand the end game, and Americans need to be scared. They need to. This is why we need history.
I mean, but why are we at that point? Are we at that point in terms of impeachment? I don't think we're at that point. I mean, why are we talking about
impeachment when you're just deporting people without due process?
Okay, all right, okay.
I mean some Americans love it, but give me a break.
All right, fine. Okay, I agree with you. The deportation.
You know what? These people who like it, who said, "Oh, this is great," you know what?
Let's talk about
and deport them tomorrow.
Let's talk about the deportation of people without due process. Yes, you said that there are people who believe that it's fine. No. I mean, why would people believe that it is okay? There are people. Listen, if this is how people, if you know, precedence is important. If you can go, if people think that they can go to the Capitol on January 6th to overturn the election, don't you think they also can? And now they were pardoned and walking free, and some of them are in the White House. Don't you also think that they can also not follow due process as it relates to deporting people who they consider to be legal immigrants?
But here's the problem: like, who are the they're deporting illegal immigrants. Fine, if they're illegal immigrants, I believe that we need a better immigration system. Okay. However, to whom much is given, much is expected. You can't just get up and say you're going to deport people just like that without everyone. And we're all human. We need to have a humanistic approach because we're human beings,
Well,
and that's why.
Well, the judge is and I agree with you. The point I'm making. I'm playing the devil's advocate, but the judge. I mean, you see what's going on right now. A lot of the judge. I think the Democrats won two seats. Judiciary.
Yes, but you know what? I'm glad you're changing the subject because now we need to move on to our next point.
Yeah, let's talk about Eric Adams.
No, okay, fine.
Yes. Oh, okay. Before that, okay. What is it that you want?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Carolina.
No, what's going on in North Carolina, please?
North Carolina. There was a in the 2024 election, the Supreme Court, the election for the Supreme Court in North Carolina is unresolved. The incumbent, who is a Democrat, Allison Riggs, she held a narrow seat by 734 votes over the Republican challenger.
Wait, hold up. This happened. This for 2024.
Yes.
So in 2024,
in the November election that just finished.
In 2024.
Yes.
That's for governor?
For the Supreme Court of North Carolina.
Okay.
North Carolina recently, just the other day, the North Carolina Court of Appeals panel ruled 2-1 in favor of Judge Griffin challenge, potentially invalidating over 60,000 ballots. Because they challenged it once. They challenged it. The Republicans challenged the victory once to recount. The Democratic incumbent won, Allison Riggs. Then they did it again. They had 3 counts, and she won all 3 counts. So they had a new stunt. Let's invalidate 60,000 ballots.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So now, these people who voted has 15 days to come in.
Who are these people, though?
We don't know if they're dead.
Where are they from? What county are they from?
Most of them are predominantly Democratic or Black and brown communities. Yes.
Wow, this is interesting.
Mm-hmm. This is how you disenfranchise people. You're supposed to help. Can I tell you, our society has gotten so corrupt, Renaldo. Do you understand what's going on? The human beings have gotten so corrupt. The animalistic, we're like animals in a jungle. That's what American society has become. Every time I watch Fox News, I feel like I'm in the jungle. I'm because that's how they act. You should see how they smile and the condescending ways that they talk about people like the Democrats and stuff. And we're supposed to be united America, and the way in which the Fox News talk about people and sometimes they're smirking and laughing in certain ways, and all I see is they act like they're just wild animals in a jungle. That's what I feel.
Well, I mean, we're talking about.
Renaldo, why would you disenfranchise people's vote? Why shouldn't you? The onus is on you as an American.
Ricardo, I mean, I don't really get you. Why would you underdevelop Africa?
Well, but I thought that in 2025 we're getting better.
Why would you turn a whole country, a whole nation of people, and say that they are primitives and they don't have religion or anything, and turn them into just to turn them into slaves to justify your good consciences? Well, if people can do that, then yes. Okay. Wow.
Yes, so that's one thing. So this is the blueprint as to what could happen to us in the next couple of elections. If you can't win, then try and find every means and ways to disenfranchise people. But let's talk about Eric Adams. Eric Adams.
Yes, Eric. Yeah, what's going on with Eric Adams?
His court case was dismissed with prejudice, which is great, which means that they can't hold it over his head anymore. It was supposed to be without prejudice, which means that they could just bring up the case anytime they want to, which I thought was wrong, because I felt as though he was a pawn. And remember, we talked about this before, that we did trying to take advantage of him, and I felt so bad. And the New York prosecutor resigned and one piece of stuff because this is wrong because she didn't want to drop the case and it was wrong. It's not in her blah 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 to do it. And so a lot of people have decided that, he is tarnished, he needs to resign and stuff. But now that this is over, you think that he can now move on. However, apparently he's running as an independent as a result and not as a Democrat, because I don't think he can. I don't know what, Cuomo is running now. But I don't think he's able to run.
Hold on. Cuomo is really running?
Yeah, he's running.
First of all, when I heard that Cuomo was running, I'm saying, for example, Cuomo is supposed to be better than Eric Adams in terms of on the issue of morality and ethics.
Well,
what is going on?
I don't.
What is going on in New York? And secondly, if you work in New York. What do you think about Eric Adams' leadership in New York? What has he done for New York? I heard him the other day on the press conference reeling off his successes. What has Eric Adams done for New York since he's been mayor?
Crime is down. He's really helped the subway system. He's cleaned up the streets. A lot of developments in the city. Policing in the suburbs really made it safer. The crime is down a lot. His biggest claim to fame is people don't see as much rats anymore in the city because he's really helped work with this sanitation.
Well, that Ricardo, that if he was able to control the rat situation in New York, that's a big achievement.
Yeah. So, that's true. Our city is supposed to be the richest city one of the richest city in the world, the biggest economy. So, New York City. So he has some other achievements and accomplishments as well. So the problem is, if he's running as an independent, I fear for the Democratic Party, because what's going to happen, I feel as though, is that he's going to take away a lot of votes.
Why is he running as an independent?
Because I don't know if he's able to run as a Democrat. I can't remember what happened. I think he had to do something in order to putting his name in the ticket, and I feel as though he wasn't going to get as much support from the Democratic Party as he would like. So running as an independent, actually, he could take some Democrats, probably there's some Republicans who may support him, and probably maybe one or two independents who think he was. So he might be able to do that. But as a result, I feel as though he probably might. The most important thing, he might steal more votes from the Democratic Party. He has 20% of people, 20% of the vote. That's a lot from you're taking. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Are they going to have do they usually have a strong Republican presence at the mayoral race in New York?
An independent has won before. Okay. Paul, was there an was there an independent? Was there a Republican New York City mayor?
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, when was the last one?
We are
Giuliani. Mayor Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani.
He was Republican.
Oh yeah, he was Republican. Oh yes, he was Republican. There we go.
Yes. Well, listen, if a Republican win, then I'm sorry, then we are totally mistaken about what's going on in our society today. We really can't let that happen, because if you vote Republican, you're saying that you're okay with the government, republicanism or Trumpism, destroying our education system, destroying arts and cultural agencies, environmental programs, health and human services, which with New York depend on some of them, education, what else? Different social services, all of that. So if you vote that way, I'm not saying anything is wrong, but if you vote that way from higher education, if you vote, what you're saying is that you're okay with pulling money for transportation, improvement in higher education, social services, arts and culture. Those are the things that are affected. And I can't support a party who supports the destruction of the fabric of America, of the society, what we stand for. Yes,
I believe in Republican Party.
Yeah.
What about the fact that Barack Obama said that he did not believe Kamala Well, can you believe it? This story today, Barack Obama did not believe Kamala was the best candidate.
Yeah, but a lot of people believe that way. Actually, I was watching the news one
and
day.
then
And they interviewed this guy right before the election,
no,
and
but that's the same Democratic. That's the same Democratic Party
I know,
that.
no, listen to me. There
Yeah.
was a guy, they interviewed a young white man who voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump, which I have no problem with, which, I'm not going to. What he said when I interviewed him was, I am not going to vote for Kamala Harris because she was not vetted properly. And I'm not just going to have to take my vote and waste my vote on someone who just show up and they just throw her in the race. I didn't choose her. I chose Biden or someone. So as a result, he said he probably was not going to vote, or he was going to vote for Donald Trump or someone else. And that's what he said. And when I saw that, I was like, this is going to be a problem for her. Because a lot of people also felt that way, that, she didn't have enough time, but also she needed to have gone to a primary.
And
So
I find, and you saw that she finally rose from the grave 2 days ago.
yeah, I mean, she should. I mean, she
She
ran for
should.
president.
You
She had a
believe
lot
that
of people who supported her. So I do believe
okay.
that she should. A lot of people think that no, she shouldn't, but I think she should. The onus is on her to do this. If she believed that what she believed in, she doesn't have to run for president and be president in order to accomplish some of these things or to sound the alarm about what's going on in our society. She was the one who talked about 2025, the Project 2025, and what it means for us.
By the way,
And,
yeah, that's true. But I believe that do you believe that the Democratic leadership had a meeting? Because is it coincidental that you have all of these Democratic leaders? Biden suddenly he was on was it social media talking about Donald Trump. Then and then Kamala Harris rose from the grave, and then and recently Barack Obama is all over the place talking about Donald pushing back against what Donald Trump
well,
is.
because they had to, because we needed
Um,
leadership, and there was nobody that was holding the mantle to continue this mantle. And I think it's necessary and important for her, even though no matter what, yes, maybe she wasn't ready to be president and we didn't vet her. But guess what? If she wants to be president again, she doesn't have to run. She needs to come out now and putting it out there, creating groups of people, marches. Because she knew about this 2025 program. She warned us about what it could do. So the onus is on her to come out now to be strong and powerful and say, I still support you. I know all of you didn't support me and vote for me because you didn't trust me and because of the lies that people told. But I'm telling you right now, this is what I wanted to prevent. I really thought I could work together with you guys for a better future and to make it better, but I could still do that by coming out and talking to the people and having and raising funds and going to different states and talk to them and lead the Democratic Party into sending a positive message that we are against what's happening. And yes, we need a voice. And maybe it's her, because a lot of people love her and support her. And she got a lot of votes. She got millions of people. So you know what?
I mean, I don't, Ricardo, personally, I don't think she was the voice, though. I don't really.
No,
I disagree. Ricardo, I disagree. She is not the voice for a lot of young men, for a lot of African American people. She is not the voice for many working class people. All I hear when people talk about her plans, which are okay, fine, but Donald
that was in
Trump.
the past, I'm not
Donald
talking
Trump.
about the past.
Okay,
She
fine.
ran for president and she lost. And a lot of people voted for her, not everyone. However, the onus is on her. We need a voice. In this time, no better time like this, you're not going to do it because you have to work 24/7 and we have a little podcast here. But guess what? She could do it. She ran for this country. She ran.
Don't have a little podcast here.
Okay. No, but I'm saying she has a bigger
We
platform.
have global reach. And what I'm saying to you that, I mean, the point I'm making.
Her job is to remind people not to be afraid. Her job.
I like what you just say. Okay. Creating a base,
Yes.
commandeering the troops, talking to people, you're not seeing that.
Yes.
I mean, I like what Obama did recently on, was it on ABC or something of the sort? He had an interview and he's been out there. And then today we had a storm of people protesting cuts to social welfare. If it's one thing that Americans are are probably upset about or will agree on, is the impending cuts to social welfare. Americans social welfare is a big program, not just African American, but working class across the board. Working class people depend heavily on.
You know what? We went out today and had drinks with a couple friends of ours. I know one thing that we were talking about.
What's that?
If I ever have like healthcare where I never have, if I'm ever healthy or I have free healthcare, I would, it would give me the opportunity to do so much, to be so much more, to do so much more, to maybe change my career, to be a better person. So I don't know why some of these people are afraid of social welfare. It's very important and integral in an industrialized, strong society to where you have healthy people. And so you need social welfare to make sure that people can improve their lives in themselves and create policy that encourage them to do so. So this is the message.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the message. That's what the message needs to be. And I was like, we were talking about that. Yeah. And one person was like, oh, I love my job. And I was like, yeah, but you know what? If you didn't like your job and you lose your job tomorrow, a lot of people lose their job. They're scared because if they get help, if they get sick tomorrow, if something happens to them, if they have to go to the emergency room, oh my goodness, they're scared. So if people, we need, I do believe that social serves some type of social I mean, everybody benefits from some type of social welfare, okay? Some big corporations get money from the government to help subsidize health insurance for their employees because they employ people, right? People don't recognize and understand what these things. And it's very important that we start understanding these things.
By the way, a gentleman by the name of Claudio Bono, who I'm going to be speaking with on the show, he is an executive, and he's proposing a plan to Donald Trump administration. He's going to be talking with us, a plan that involves cutting. I think they've already cut. There's a particular program to help homeless. They cut a program to homelessness, and they announced it. I spoke. What was it? He said, "I applaud Donald Trump for cutting funding to the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness. It's a system that simply doesn't work." And by the way, this is Claudio Bono. Claudio Bono is the managing director and the vice president of Cupertino Chamber of Commerce, Silicon Valley, VP Cupertino Historical Society, and City Commissioner, Cupertino. And he's going to be coming on the show. And he is saying that homelessness is a crisis that demands bold action, and the status quo has failed us. Paul was talking about the status quo. The status quo has failed us. Take California as proof. $37 billion spent over 6 years, and the problem only worsened. The excuses are polished, but the results expose a $1 billion sham. I've proposed a solution, one that's innovative and ready to go, at givearoof.org. Anyway, according to him, we're leveraging loyalty points and airline miles to generate potentially $25 billion a year to end homelessness. That's his plan. So instead of the federal government, yes, the federal government giving billions of dollars per year to ending homelessness, to supporting homelessness initiatives, his plan is to use these what they call airline miles and royalty points, leverage those and put it towards homelessness.
Renaldo, okay, so we have to wrap up. However, I'm going to say, I don't care what he's saying. It makes no sense. Another policy.
You're saying it makes. Well, we're going to have him on the show.
We will invite you. How much are they paying him for this? How much do they plan to make out of this thing? How much are they paying? Listen, you can never end homelessness. You can never end it. It will continue. It's how to manage it. I don't understand. These people think we live in a utopia. You can never end anything, for crying out loud. Okay, you could just manage it. Our society, we are human beings. There's no utopia.
I don't think he's not suggesting the plan to end it. He's saying that the Donald Trump's government is cutting programs to homelessness.
No, he thinks that.
But he's proposing a solution, which is fine. Leverage some royalty programs. He's already proposing cuts to millionaires, billionaires, to corporations. Maybe what they can do is leverage some of their miles programs and put it towards homelessness. That's it.
So what you're saying, so one of the benefits that he gets from getting cuts is if you house a couple homeless people, then you could pay less tax, right? That's what you're saying.
I mean, Donald Trump is already proposing cutting They're already talking about cutting, expanding, or increasing the cuts.
Well, that's what
Billionaires.
I'm just trying to say to you. Here's the
Okay.
policy. Listen to me. If you're a company, all right, do me a favor. Participate in helping get rid of homelessness in your state and in your city. And if you do that, then I could give you some tax benefit. That's what they should be doing. All right. You want to make tough decision, then that's what I want this guy to talk about. Don't if you're a business and you
Yes,
and
but that's
yeah,
what he's talking about. He's providing a solution. But we're going to hear more
well,
about what he's
don't cut
suggesting.
it. Don't cut. You're cutting things yet
Well, they're already
without
cutting. They're already,
policy.
they're already
Yeah, but
cutting it.
that's what
But
we talked about. This
yeah.
just cutting without a plan of action makes no sense.
I have
They're
one
all
more question for you. You said earlier that this failed billionaire who filed for bankruptcy several times, he is a great marketer,
yes,
but very bad as a businessman.
yes.
Very bad. Yet I hear the press secretary saying the other day, oh, we should trust Donald Trump. Put out trust Donald Trump.
I, I'm not gonna trust somebody who's
No.
very marketing charismatic.
But
You know what? A
you're
lot of
saying
people.
that but you're saying, Mr. Ricardo, we shouldn't trust him because while he's a great marketer and while he's charismatic, he's a failed businessman.
Yes,
And
but
so
very
you're saying that
yeah.
all of these tariffs, that all of these tariffs might come back to bite us, and all of these changes.
Like I said, he could create
Final
a
word.
brand. Yes, he could create a brand. Okay, but slogans, that's it, right? Catchphrases. People love those things. They feel so good when you talk about it. Call people names and stuff. Slogans, catch them, emotional appeal to people. Oh, they make them feel good. You sound like a pastor, right? You know, like a pastor. You still when you go to church, you're like, hallelujah, and then when then after Sunday is over, they have a different life. Remember those? Those. Remember when people just talk about pastors. We should be like that. That's strong. Make you feel good after Sunday, and people like, yes, yeah, and you're screaming and shouting and putting your hand up. And the guy could say, I'm going to shoot you tomorrow, and they're still going to clap their hands in church. And even you, when you go to church, like, what is he talking about? You don't know what he's saying. This guy's preaching nonsense, and they're jumping up and down all over the bench with no substance. But they love him because he's charismatic, right? That's Donald Trump. He's like a pastor that I used to go to church with on Sunday morning. I would preach and make all this noise, and people jump up and down and all over the place. And you know what? His life that he lived was totally different. All right. So yes, he's great at marketing and making people feeling emotional and have great slogans and stuff. But you know what? He's not really built anything, because anything that he's built, he's destroyed. Like I said to you, he's not a builder. He's very good at destroying. That's why we talked about that earlier. Destructive. He's great at destroying things, because when you're only good at speaking nonsense and making people feel good and without strategy or ideas, I've seen Donald Trump over the years. No strategy, nothing of making people feel good, or only just making people feel good, but no building, destroying. Okay? Billionaire, right? Bankruptcy, multiple bankruptcies, casinos in Atlantic City, Trump University lawsuits on a $25 million settlement. A lot of successful looking ventures were actually deep in debt or carried by licensing, not operations. Even in real estate, many properties don't carry real ownership, just the Trump name for branding. So yeah, a master of perception. But when you peel back the layers, the execution doesn't always match the pitch. Yeah. Yeah.
While we're talking, Ricardo, this is the Pulse on the Neoliberal podcast, a new installment series that is aired every week right here on the Neoliberal podcast. And the Neoliberal podcast is a dynamic podcast show. And by it's a dynamic podcast show. We have several series: Street Vibes. We have the Caribbean Thought Lecture series. We have Castro v Trump, which is no longer being aired because you know what's going on with Mr. Castro. That's what happened when you speak out against the status quo. You are jailed. But he was on this show. But you have the Pulse, which is a new show that we have coming. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. We're going to be releasing Neoliberal Globalization Reconsidered, Neo-Capitalism.
And listen, it's great to.
And by the way, Ricardo, we are live. We are live. Wait, right now, we are live. We are live right now. So those of us who are watching on Facebook, thank you so much for joining the show. We are live, and you didn't get the first half of the show. But Ricardo, yes, go ahead.
No, thank you so much. It's great to.
That's it. That's where we start. that's where we stop. That's where we stop. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of The Policy. Ricardo, final word. Oh, he had to go. And let me just wrap up quickly by saying earlier I said, I never thought about it, but here I was responding to Mr. Claudio. I never thought about it, but here we have a young man with an innovative plan that cuts homelessness without burdening the budget. All this Trump disruption provides an opportunity to hear solutions that we would not have heard about. New programs must replace tired ones that drag out social ills and the burden on the public without providing solvable solutions that work. Cutting social programs may actually work, as it forces us to become more creative and effective in addressing social challenges that usually lead to more social programs. But it has to be done in a way that involves a process that does not hurt or shock the system. Hopefully we can have Bono Claudio or Claudio Bono on the show to discuss later. I will speak with him tomorrow, Bono Claudio, as we continue with the Neoliberal podcast. Please continue, subscribe on any stream, anywhere in the world, and on YouTube channel. I'm Renaldo McKenzie of the Neoliberal podcast. What good?